British Columbia announced that the US government has paused negotiations on the expansive Columbia River Treaty, saying the current administration is reviewing its international commitments. This comes as Canada unveils new measures to protect its businesses from tariffs that show no sign of easing. What began as a trade dispute has now escalated into a confrontation over something far more unexpected: water. President Donald Trump has made an extraordinary demand of Canada, shocking officials and analysts on both sides of the border. Trump has publicly suggested tapping into Canada's vast freshwater reserves, describing them as a giant spigot that could be opened to solve America's growing drought crisis. He specifically mentioned the Columbia River, a 2,000-kilometer waterway shared by both countries. In response, Ottawa immediately pushed back. Talks on the 60-year-old Columbia River Treaty, which governs flood control and hydroelectric power, have now been frozen. More than 85 Indigenous and environmental groups in Canada have united to demand that this resource remain fully under Canadian control. Prime Minister Mark Carney declared that Canada is not for sale, and warned that no foreign power has the right to commandeer the country's natural wealth. Ottawa's message was unmistakable: the northern faucet will stay firmly shut. For the US, the consequences are immediate. Trump had framed his proposal as a lifeline for drought-stricken farms and industries. Instead, his aggressive push has triggered chaos, threatening jobs, supply chains, and household stability.
California, Arizona, and Nevada had been counting on potential water diversions to keep farms alive. Nearly 40% of America's vegetables and 2/3 of its fruits and nuts are grown in California. With no relief coming, farmers now face empty canals and parched fields. Food costs are expected to rise sharply, with some analysts warning of double-digit price increases for staples like lettuce, almonds, and tomatoes before year's end. Industries are also under pressure. Semiconductor plants in Arizona, which require millions of gallons of water daily, are already warning of production delays and job cuts. Hydroelectric utilities in the Pacific Northwest, once counting on Canadian river flows during summer heat waves, are now forced to rely on coal and natural gas, driving up consumer power bills and raising carbon emissions. Politically, the fallout has been explosive. Trump framed his demand as an act of strength, but critics from both parties are calling it reckless. Even leaders in border states have questioned the wisdom of provoking Canada over such a vital resource. The Great Lakes region, where 40 million Americans rely on shared waters under a long-standing agreement with Canada, is particularly alarmed. Any hint that these lakes could be politicized has left communities on edge. Wall Street has taken notice too. Water security is now seen as a serious economic risk. Agricultural and manufacturing stocks are under pressure, and water futures prices are climbing fast. For consumers, this means higher prices on everything from groceries to cars to electricity. For Canada, this standoff is a defining moment. Carney's firm stance has united Canadians across the political spectrum, sending a clear message that fresh water is a sovereign asset, not a commodity to be traded. Globally, the implications are huge. Water is becoming the most strategic resource of the 21st century. Oil defined the last century, but in today's world, water is increasingly the foundation of economic survival. Canada, home to nearly 1/5 of the planet's fresh water, is now seen as a gatekeeper of this vital resource. Other nations are watching closely. If the US can pressure Canada over water, what does that mean for other alliances? European and Asian governments are quietly questioning America's reliability as a partner. For Americans, the crisis is a wake-up call. Years of assuming endless northern water supplies are over. Domestic solutions like desalination, recycling, and conservation will now need massive investment, but they will take years to implement. As the standoff continues, US farmers, factories, and families face a future of higher costs and harder choices. Canada, meanwhile, has drawn a line in the water that Washington cannot easily cross. Even the closest allies can become rivals when survival is on the line. This is USA News Report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.